Your in-depth weekly astrology overview and zodiac forecast for week commencing the 1st of June for the ascendant, the sun, or the moon. Going to share the big themes of the week ahead first. On screen is your event chart. As we go into the week, I'll unpack that for you. Always important. I'll then go through each of the influences in detail. At the end of the video, you'll have a clearer picture of what's upcoming in terms of your energy, work, relationships, or finances. I'm astrologer Patrick Arundel. A very warm welcome. If you've yet to subscribe to my channel, please do so now to help it to continue to thrive. But please also click or tap the bell notification symbol. As we go into this week, Cancer, the potency of the blue moon in Sagittarius that brought last week to a close is still palpable. And for you, it's very much about energy, physical and emotional, and getting just the right balance. But what can help is that on Monday, Mercury, the planet of communication, emerges from the complex 12th house of your chart and into your sign for a long 10-week occupation, which is truly rare. And that's because we're coming into a retrograde season, which will see Mercury turn retrograde on the 29th of June. But initially, it's definitely going to give you an opportunity to move into the moment and be very nimble about some of your ideas. But last week, Saturn and Venus were in a crunching right angle, and something you wanted to manifest as an individual may have met with resistance by someone older, a boss, a line manager, and that may have created some frustration, and that energy is still just there as we come into the week. But as Mercury moves deeper into your sign, it is going to square up with Neptune by Thursday, which can be quite challenging. So on the screen is your event chart. So first of all, we need to think about your ruler, the moon. So the moon starts the week still in the free-spirited fire sign of Sagittarius, which has an appreciation of being a little bit more spontaneous. The sixth house, however, can be about our responsibilities and obligations. But the moon here is asking you to think in terms of the knowledge that Sagittarius can provide. Are there some new approaches that you can bring in to what you eat, drink, the amount of exercise you get? But the energy of the sun in the 12th house, much more psychological. And if you have been feeling on edge, and that full moon made you feel more on edge, or you have been feeling rather drained, it wouldn't be a surprise. So the challenge as you come into this new week is to try to get a better alignment from that lunation. Now, Mars was forging a tough angle to the moon, and maybe there's part of you that really wants to stick with what you want to do for your future plan and be very single-minded, which is a good thing. But just be aware that we all only have a certain amount of resources. And if your determination to achieve a golden prize is in some ways impacting on your well-being, it's just something to be conscious of. Now, as much as Venus and Saturn are just still squaring as we go into this week, and that could make you feel a bit inhibited about expressing some of your creative ideas, as Mercury moves into your sign on Monday and comes into that right angle with Neptune later in the week, there could be an echo of that Venus Saturn square, but in a different way. It's more about really getting clear about what's important to you as far as manifesting your individual talent or identity. However, you can use your inner resources to good effect, because one of the things that Cancerian people have that doesn't get recognized enough is tenacity. You know, you can really dig in and withstand really challenging conditions. And your past experience and knowledge with the sun in a great link to Saturn, which peaks on Tuesday, can help you to navigate some of this week's challenges. But Mercury moving into your sign is great if there is something new you want to begin. And because Venus and Jupiter are going to be aligning in Cancer exactly on the 9th of June, having Mercury there as well all helps to move you more into the moment, which will get stronger once we have the summer solstice and the sun returns to your sign on the 21st. I'm going to summarize those four areas of energy, work, relationships, and finances next, Cancer. But just to say, I've reduced the price of my personal horoscope reports. It's now three for the price of one. The free charts is your 12 months forecast and also your Draconic Soul Karmic analysis. Please see below for more. If you've yet to watch your June monthly video, that's on the screen. Your Mars 6 weeks in Taurus forecast on the screen. If you'd like to work with me one-to-one, it'd be an absolute pleasure. Please check out my testimonials below. And if you've yet to take advantage of my free daily written horoscope fired to your device each morning, please do so by clicking the link below too. So to summarize, as far as your energy is concerned, I think that full moon was a little bit of a red flag if you're overdoing it, whether you're overdoing it in a physical context or perhaps pushing yourself too hard in an emotional context, or you're not giving yourself enough space to focus on either of those areas, or you're focused so much on a big hope or target that you're not really giving yourself time to stop and pause. So that's just something to be conscious of. As far as your professional situation is concerned, with Neptune right at the top of your chart, it's important because of its link to Pluto and Uranus that you're really tuning into your soul energy when it comes to what you're doing for a living. Because if you are, some of the challenges that have been showing up and can, with Saturn square to Venus on Monday and Mercury's square to Neptune exactly on Thursday, won't happen if you're in the right environment. But if you're not, those can be times when you just feel challenged because you can't quite be yourself, or something keeps changing, not quite sure exactly of what's expected of you, which could prove frustrating. However, when it comes to your financial situation, the gathering of Venus and Jupiter in your own sign in the exact conjunction on the 9th of June can bring some serendipity your way. But I think it's really Pluto in that 8th house that's the big indicator of a change of fortune, because that's much more to do with long-term finances. And if you are doing something that deeply resonates within you, if you keep persisting, you will get there in the end. As far as relationships are concerned, well, I feel that if you're single, don't be surprised if you are going to attract a lot of extra attention all through the month of June. It could be a very flirty time for you. If you're in an ongoing relationship, maybe work pressures affected things between you both last week that may have created some tensions. But it's also important that neither one of you is actually trying to boss the relationship, that it does have an equality about it, and that's something to work on. If, however, you're truly not enjoying a relationship, that square between Saturn and Venus may have been a really telling aspect. And certainly Mars in your 11th house could give you the determination. Mars in Taurus, very determined to get back on track with what's really important as you see it, and in terms of your own personal hopes for the future, rather than being conflicted by the needs of someone else. It's been a pleasure being with you. Have a great week, Cancer. All the best and goodbye.